Shalom everyone, Shavua Tov, and welcome to a weekly Zohar, Parashat VaYeshev. And we read Parashat VaYeshev on Genesis chapter 37, verse 1. VaYeshev Yaakov be'eretz megurei aviv be'eretz Canaan. VaYeshev Yaakov, and Yaakov settled, or basically he found his place. That's how it sounds like. VaYeshev, that's what it means. However, the commentators are saying, the sages are saying, here Yaakov wanted to sit quietly, and then he has this amazing disaster of losing of his favorite son, Yosef. How do we get to that, and what is the message over here? Now, the story of the parasha is about Yaakov finally, after all the traumas of the last few weeks, especially last week was pretty harsh on him. He met his brother, wants to kill him. Then he got into a mess with the city of Shechem. His daughter was raped. He's on the run. And Rachel, his wife, beloved wife, dies. That's enough. So now he is finally settled. And here the boys get into the picture. And what I mean, the boys are getting into the picture. They become a players in the game. They're not players in the game till today. Okay, and the story is, as we read on the second verse, second pasuk, Ele toldot Yaakov Yosef. These are the generations or the offsprings of Yaakov, Yosef. And the Zohar is saying, it doesn't say Reuven, Shimon, Levi, only Yosef. Why? Why is it mentioned like this? Do we have another story of the father loving one son over the others? It looks like, from the superficial way it's written, yes. Yes. Doesn't Yaakov knows more than anybody else about how dangerous this stuff is about? He suffered that when he was growing up with Yitzchak and Rivka. But that's a superficial part. The problem is, what do we get for it today? Just about, the nice stuff about, how do you call it? Treat all your children equally. You don't get into a mess. Is that the message? No, it's not the message. Oh, it's a nice message. You have to treat your children equally. All of them have to feel that you love them in a unique way. But here it says, Ele toldot Yaakov Yosef. These are the generations or the outcome of Yaakov, Yosef. Not even a comma between the Yaakov and Yosef. It's Yaakov Yosef, like one name. What is it that makes Yosef so important to Yaakov? Yosef, and then it says he's 17 years old. It's like the story is starting. Yosef is 17 years old. Okay? And he is a shepherd together with his brothers. We'll see later on that it's not exactly. And it says from the story itself, he doesn't, somehow he can't get along properly with his brothers. And then comes, they made a musical out of it. Vayachalom Yosef Chalom, verse 5, chapter 37. Vayachalom, and Yosef had a dream, one dream. That's the first dream. He has a dream. Vayaget le'echav vayosif otnoto, and he tells his brother, and they go on hating him. Vayomer aleim shimu na hachalom hazeh shamati. Listen to this dream that I dreamt. V'hinei anachnu me'almim alumim betoch hasadeh. We are making sheaves in the field. V'hinei kama alumati v'gam nitzava, and my sheaf is standing in the middle. V'hinei tasubena alumotechem v'tishachavena la'alumati, and your sheaves go stand around my sheaf, and they bow down. Vayamru lo Echav, and his brothers tell him, Hamaloch timloch aleinu, imashol timshol banu. They immediately get what it is. Are you going to be our king? Are you going to be our ruler? Of course not. ויוסיפו עוד שנוא אותו על חלומותיו ודבריו. And they still hate him, they continue hating him for his dreams and his words. ואחרון, there's another word, their dream, same dream. But now, the sun and the moon and 11 stars bow down to him. Now even his father says, that's wrong. Why your mother and me are going to come and bow down to you? ויקנאו באחיו, and his brothers were jealous. Why they're jealous? He had a dream. Yeah, but they knew. You learn from that, says the Zohar, you never tell a dream, not a night dream and not a day dream, to somebody who doesn't like you. You never. Why? Their negativity can put all kinds of obstacles on your dream. He had to pay for it. Okay? We learn from that another thing. He was 17 years old. He was to become Joseph the righteous, the Joseph. However, we have a problem with that. He has no idea. He's making one wrong move after another. He makes his brothers as his biggest enemies. That's not right. He's not sensitive. He has no idea what he's doing. And then it says, Vayomer Yisrael el Yosef, halo achecha roim b'Shechem. Verse 13. Your brothers went with the sheep to Shechem. Lecha v'shlachacha eleim. Let me send you over to them. And see, how are they? Okay? And tell me what's going on with them. So he's now being sent. Remember, think, they are in the fields with the sheep. They sleep on the ground, on the rocks. It's cold at night, hot during the day, in the mountains. Not so easy. And he's home having the best, remember the Technicolor dream coat. Here it is. Okay, so now he gets this special coat. They don't have the coat. Okay, now what do we learn from that? The story is he goes over there. He goes to Emek Dotan. He goes to Shechem to look for them. Then this guy tells him where they are. They went to the Dotan. He goes to Dotan. He sees the brothers. They want to kill him. Then Reuven tries to save his life. Says, don't kill him. Throw him to the pit. They throw him to the pit, which is empty. Okay? And then they sit to eat bread. I'm reading now chapter 37, verse 25. Vayishvu lechol lechem, and they sit to eat bread. And they raise their eyes and they see there's a convoy of Ishmaelites coming from the Gilad all the way to Egypt, carrying perfumes. Vayomer Yehuda el Echav, and Yehuda says to his brothers, Ma betza ki naharog et achinu, why should we kill our brother? Lechu nimkerum lo Ishmaelim, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites. And we shouldn't be his executors. So they sell Joseph, and he's sold as a slave to Egypt, right? In Egypt, he's being sold to Potiphar, one of the closest people to Pharaoh. Okay, then we have a weird story about Yehuda, that he is like having a wife, 3 sons. The first one dies, the second one dies, and the third one, finally, Yehuda makes this bride pregnant. That's supposed to be the bride of his son. Doesn't look nice. Okay? And we go back to the story of Yosef. Okay? It's like, in every soap opera. You're just like, your hangover. Okay, you're just like, wait. And Yosef urad Mitzrayma. Chapter 39, verse 1. And Yosef is brought to Egypt. Potiphar buys him. And then it says that as a slave, okay, VaYeshev et Yosef, and God is with Yosef. Vayi ish matzliach, and he becomes a successful person. And finally, he becomes the guy who takes over all the empire of Potiphar. Okay? He's beautiful. He's young. Okay? He's probably not dressed with drugs. The wife of his master wants to take him to bed, her bed. That's Egypt. She owns him. She can do with him whatever she wants. He refuses. He runs away from her bed. Okay? He found himself in jail. Thank God he's not being executed. Okay? And over there he meets the two celebrities, the wine steward and the baker. And over there they had, again, another story of two dreams. They tell Yosef the dreams. He interprets the dreams. And the way he interprets, that's the way it happens. Yosef tells the wine steward, you're going to be alive. You're going to get back to your position. Get me out of here. And the story finishes over here that the wine steward cannot remember Joseph. Okay, what's in it for us? Except from that nice story for a musical, right? So let's go from the beginning. And as we know, the parashot, especially every month, it's a sequence of parashot that are developing the same concept because we have a same tikkun. And what is the tikkun that it's about, that we are being busy with here? Okay. So one tikkun, it says, we'll go to the Zohar for that, of course. And the Zohar in parashat VaYeshev, Perush HaSulam, first verse, VaYeshev Yaakov be'eretz מגורי אביו בארץ כנען, רבי חייא פתח ואמר. Rabbi Chia opened and said, רבות רעות צדיק ומכולם יצילנו השם. He's quoting from Psalms 34, and he says, many troubles to the tzaddik, to the righteous, and God will save him from all of them. Come and see. כמה מקטרגין יתלי לברנש. How many enemies a person has. מיומא דקודשה בכו יהב בי נשמתי ויעלמה. From the day that God gives him his soul. כיוון דנפיק ברנש לאוויר האדמה, the moment a person comes out to the air of this world, מיד הזדמן להשתתפה בעדי יצרה. Immediately he has a partner, full-scale partner, the evil inclination. כמה דאיתמר, as it says, דכתיב לפתח חטאת רובץ. As it says, this is in Genesis chapter 4, the sin lies at the gate. The moment you come out of the gate of your mother's womb, outside, the sin is waiting for you. Okay? כדי נשתתף בעדי יצרה, and the sin is, and the evil inclination, that's our partner from the moment we are coming to the world. ותחזי דאחיו, דאה ביראה מיומדית לה. How do we know? Bring the Zohar, a very famous example. How do we know that we have the evil inclination? So he says, let's get an example. Nature. Beasts, animals, the day they are born, they are all have this instinct to keep themselves out of trouble. They see fire, they run away. They see a problem, they get out of the problem. Ha'adam, a human being, the moment he is born, immediately, as children, everybody who ever raised children or experienced that, if they have the most unique, magical way to set up themselves into troubles that you cannot imagine, right? Life-threatening. Not just that children do not run away from troubles, they run into the troubles, and you have to watch them all the time so they don't get into the trouble of fire, electricity, whatever is damaging. Why do kids have it? Because it's a proof, says the Zohar, they have evil inclination. What draws kids into trouble? It's like, kids are like a machine that generates endless troubles all the time, new ones. Okay? Now, the good inclination, the soul, is when we are talking about that, we're talking about, we're summarizing the months that we were talking about Yaakov and Esav, the evil inclination and the good inclination. what we're talking about, that we have two voices in our mind, two feelings in our brain. We have two different personalities. One is called the real me, and one is the false me, the pretending me. What's the pretending me? That's a part of me which is the other side, the dark side, as the Kabbalists see it, the other side of our personality, the ones who always gets us into trouble, which is the other side or the dark side. Okay, now, but this is much deeper than that, says the Zohar. Rabbi Shimon says, we spoke about it earlier, but I skipped it, but it says there's a verse, Tov yelet misken v'chacham mimelech zaken uchsil. This is from Proverbs, where it says, it's better to have a miserable little boy than an old stupid king. What is that about? And that's it, says Rabbi Shimon, Tov yeled misken v'chacham, the miserable, wise boy. Who is that? It says, we learn this is the good inclination. Why? שכתוב, נער הייתי וגם זקנתי, זהו נער שהוא ילד מסכן. אין לו מעצמו כלום. למה נקרא נער? So there are two ways. The simple way to explain why it's called na'ar, like a boy, because the good inclination comes later. We get it only at bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah. That's when we get a good inclination. He is already the new boy in the block. You know that everybody wants to finish him off. So because the bad guy came in the beginning, okay, he is the king. He's the older one. He is the king. He has the rulership, and he's stupid. Why? You listen to him, you get into troubles. And then he's excited, I got him into trouble, I got him into trouble. Because that's his job, to get us into trouble. Why does he have to get us into trouble? So we learn by getting out of the trouble, by overcoming the challenges, that's how we acquire the positivity, light, whatever that is good. Now, but this is the simplistic explanation. And the boy, why is called a boy? Because he's younger, that's one explanation. But here Rabbi Shimon adds another thing. He's called a boy because he has nothing of his own, because the good inclination knows exactly what we are doing over here. He knows that nothing belongs to him. Your clothes don't belong to you. Why? When you die, you can take it with you. Okay? Your treasures don't belong to you. When you die, you can't take it with you. What do you mean when I die? Does anybody knows when he's going to die? No. Could be like 120, 125. Could be like, next day. Like, who guarantees anyone? No one. So somebody who has connected to his good inclination, he knows that there's nothing in this physical world that you can really own. So what can you own? You can own your growth. You can own your spiritual learning. You can own whatever you gave to others. This is yours. And we spoke about it last week. I'll come to it. We gave the example. Last week, we spoke about what is called the surrounding light. And we said surrounding light is that part of our personality. It's not part of our personality. It's a future personality. Surrounding light is all the light, the power, and the energy that we are supposed to get because we were created for that, but we did not own it yet. What does it mean? We did not acquire it. Acquiring it means earning it. Earning it means, as we said in previous weeks, earning it means when I transform certain part of my selfishness, my old king, stupid old king, into wisdom, into spirituality, into sharing and caring, and genuine love towards others. When I do that, I expand my vessel and I align my vessel with the endless light of the Creator. Then the light that is surrounding me can come in. Now, when it's coming in, it creates a fulfillment. And we said that that fulfillment becomes your baseline because a person's life, whenever, if you are alive, it's like you're not a flatliner because your level, it's like if we're speaking about pleasure and misery, it goes like this. Okay? Now, if the person baseline is high, which means he has a lot of surrounding light that turned into internal light, then your line goes like this. But if you don't have a lot of internal light, it goes like this, which means you are sunk inside the misery. The more internal light you have, even if you have ups and downs, even the lowest downs could be much higher than somebody's greatest ups. How do you create that? Hard work, spiritual work. What is the nature of that work? We're going to have another aspect to it, although we got into it last week, but here's another one. And the story is like this. You have to remember, Abraham, he was, when we get to know him, he's a celebrity. He is the top astrologer in Ur, in the ancient city of Ur. He rebels against the doctrine of that period of fatalism, determinism, and he says a human being has the right for happiness. He puts the grounds for what we call is modern humanism. Modern free life, it's all starting from Abraham. He was the first one to scream and to yell and to announce humans are part of the Creator. Every human. You're born with the birthright to be happy because that's what the Creator created you for. Now, Abraham was a special person, very special person, because he was not just a nice old man that had conversations with God. There were a lot of people like this, nobody remembers them. He discovered that the world is not like we think. And what he discovered, if you really want to understand, it's like the life of every human being is being in jail or in a cave, locked, no way out. There's a TV up there on the ceiling, black and white, showing you terrible videos again and again and again. And there's no way you can have anything to do with it. Abraham, with his wisdom, as an astrologer, as an astronomer, as a philosopher, he realizes that he can find the remote. And his remote had 22 keys. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Til, Taf. The 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet are the building blocks of the universe, but what does it mean? These are the 22 keys on your remote. So he didn't just got the remote. He did something more than that. He hacked into the system and he created that amazing program that is called Chesed, which means every time a human being wants to connect to that cosmic energy of Chesed, he needs to tap into, he doesn't have to invent it by himself, he needs to tap into the app that Abraham created. But it's not just an app. It is a major program. It's like a Google, like Facebook, or like all of these ones that without them, you cannot go on the internet. But you know what? You cannot just have Chesed. Life is not just about Chesed. So what happens? Isaac is coming to the world. He hacks into the system, and he creates the program of Gevurah, judgment, which means that what allows you to say no. I have my rights, and I cannot give you everything you want me to give. I need to think about myself too, because if I don't take care of myself, I have nothing to care of others. So here you have Abraham and Isaac, and as we said before, now we have Jacob writing the program that is called Jacob, Tiferet, central column, synthesis of right and left, giving and receiving, love and judgment, all of this. How do you synthesize that into one complete whole system, beautiful system? This is Jacob. But you know, when I read that the first time, it was 1980, in the Zohar, the Zohar, of course, doesn't use exactly those words. But I learned already computers at that time, and I was saying, oh my God, the way they describe Avram, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, that's what the industry is going to, which means you want to operate your computer. A lot of things that you do, you're using programs that sit in a cloud. You have to activate that program before your computer get access to anything. That's the way it is, says the Zohar. When you start your day, as you get into the synagogue or you want to pray, there's a pasuk that is in the beginning of the Siddur, Tfilat Shacharit, Vani berov chasdecha, avo veitecha. And with all your grace, I'll come into your home. And the Zohar says you have, at that moment, to summon the program of Abraham, Chesed. So it downloads into your system. You activate that program. And I'll bow down to the shrine of your holiness. You bring in now Yitzchak, says the Zohar, Be'iratecha, with awe, that's Yaakov. Says the Zohar, without these three, you cannot do anything. There's a backup to it. When you start the tefillah, the prayer, the Shmoneh Esrei, the silent prayer, in the beginning it starts, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu v'Elokei Avotenu, blessed are you God, the Lord of our fathers, our Lord and our father's Lord. And then you say Elokei Avraham, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov. The Lord of Abraham, the Lord of Isaac, the Lord of Jacob. Halacha says, if you did not concentrate while saying Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, start all over again. What if I can call it? Why is it so important? Now we understand. Without tapping into, without activating, you turn on your computer, you go online. But let's say you do not activate any program. You can, you can play with the keyboard, nothing happens. Whatever you can play, it's not a piano. Can't play anything. You don't go anywhere. You don't do anything. And usually those programs that you have to work with, they sit on the cloud, like Facebook, like Google, whatever. These are the base programs that without them, you go nowhere. However, they're too big. They're huge farms of memory around the world that contain all of these memories. Then the Zohar says one more thing. The moment you connect to them, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the three big systems, something else happens. Since they follow anyone, you know why Google and Facebook follows each one of you? They know exactly everything about each one of us. They can tell exactly what we do, what we consume, what kind of mood we have, when do we have that mood, everything. Math. It's all math algorithms that can text, that tell you who you are and what you are. So they know what to sell you. Okay? But Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that's something else. Says the Zohar, because they keep record of every move of every human being, whoever made a correction, they know everything about you. They know also what are you capable to do today and how to download your tikkun for today because they know also what's left to be fixed, what's the tikkun to be done. So that's how it works. So it's like what is up above, so is below. So it's just imitating the structure of the way the Zohar describes it. So when we tap into Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we tap into the ability to transform from ourselves. And that means everybody can do it. Okay? However, the question is, you can have it in a great way in thinking, in the thinking level. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they are called the upper triangle. Why upper? Because that's in the thought level. It's nice to have it all in the thought, but you need also to know how to manifest it in the physical world. Whoever learns medicine knows that in the first few years, you learn from the books, and then you do internship, and you realize whatever you learn it wrong, right? You learn finance, you learn from the books, and when you go into business, you realize that you learn it wrong, right? That's the way it is. You learn that it's more being smart. It's about EQ and how to deal with people. Yosef is not doing his internship till he's 17. He's already a genius by 17. He has nothing to do with public relations. He has terrible public relations. He makes all the wrong moves with the most important people for his relationships, his brothers, his partners in the mission of changing the world. Finally, he has to separate his ways and to find himself in Egypt by himself against the rest of the world. Now remember, Abraham, when he announces his vision, he is one of the most important people in the regime of Ur. Ur Kasdim, it's the south of Iraq of today, but that time it was one of the most advanced civilizations in the world. Okay? He's been kicked out from Ur Kasdim, and he has to start to become a nomad. Okay? From that moment on, the whole story till now is a story of a family. It's all in the family. Everybody is dealing almost all in the family. Now Joseph is starting a new venture. He's bringing that idea back to the front line of the stage of mankind. Because the moment he gets into Egypt and he climbs up and he becomes the most powerful person in Egypt, and after that he brings Jacob and he creates Egypt as the womb for the creation of the Hebrew nation, the Israelite nation, that becomes something that the world cannot forget anymore. That's stepping back to the front of history. In order to do something like this, you cannot do it easily. As we said, there are no free lunches. So when we say Ele Toldot Yaakov Yosef, if you look at the upper triangle, that's Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. But in order to manifest it, you need the lower triangle. And if you see immediately under Yaakov, this is Yosef. Yosef is Sfirat Yesod. Yosef is Yesod, and Yesod means the collection. Yosef means to assemble. Assembling all the power, the light, the bliss from the upper worlds, and that point it brought down into this world that's called Sfirat Yesod. That's Yosef. So who really continues? Yaakov, that's Yosef. Now, for Yosef to become not just a righteous person, but a chariot, in a level that no one can connect and tap into true success without tapping into that chariot, that energy, that power that Joseph created in the world. And why it's called a chariot? Because the Hebrew word for chariot is Merkava, to assemble. And also chariot in English is coming from French charrette, which means to assemble, to put together, which means it's Merkava, to put together. And that's what it means, that Yosef is the most important chariot of them all, because he is the connection between his chariot his energy, his programming is the one we need in order to bring good intentions into good actions. You can have all the great intentions in the world, but if you don't have that program that is called Yesod, Yosef, you have no idea how to bring it into fruition. So that's why Yesod, Yosef, is a symbol of success and whatever you need in order to experience blessing, success, good fortune. So this parasha is about teaching us that in order for Yosef to become Yosef HaTzadik, from this spoiled boy that was born into greatness, he was born into greatness. What the Zohar says in Parashat Vayetze, when Jacob had that first night with Leah, well, he thinks that she is Rachel. One of the reasons why he couldn't see that this is Rachel, that this is Leah, why can't you tell? This is the woman you're in love with. How can you can't tell? Is because he was focusing, concentrating on that goal that he worked for, dreamt about, planned all his life. To bring to the world the neshama, the soul of Yosef. Why? As Tiferet, he needs Yesod in order to manifest. He needs to complete the tree of life. Without Yesod, Tiferet is nothing. So, when people get together and they get married, it is love of two people, and, you touch each other and all of this, but you're concentrated with each other. And that's the way, by the way, it's supposed to be. Okay? It's normal. But Yaakov is not normal. Yaakov is Yaakov Avinu. He knows that he did not get married to Rachel in order just to manifest the love that he has of two people. He has to bring the soul of Yosef. However, it was Leah. So who came out of that night? Reuven, not Yosef. So the Zohar says, such a great person, he concentrated, trained himself, planned, focused all his life to reach to that place, and Lavan, the cheat, the liar, could disturb that. And the Zohar says, when you have a great thought, everything in this world follows the thought. You control the thoughts, you control everything. He controlled the thoughts. He worked all his life to get to that meditative level so he can draw Yosef to the world. Do you think that such work that he did will go waste? And the answer, no. That energy that he invested in that night was hanging there till Yosef was born from Rachel. So there was a delay, but Rachel came, but Yosef came out. Now, but as we know, even though you're born as a great soul, look at Abraham, look at Isaac, look at Jacob, and now with Yosef. You want to reach greatness in this world, you have to start from the bottom and climb up to the top. You cannot say, but God wants me to be happy, so why does he allow those horrible people to stand on the way? And the answer is, they stand on the way so you learn how to earn happiness. So all of those people that are obstacles on your way, they're not obstacles. They're your mirrors, they're your training machines, whatever, they're your trainers. To do what? To achieve and understand what success really means. Without that earning, without the transformation that comes out of hard work, out of fear, out of excitement, out of doubt, overcoming that, you are not able to bring it down to the world. And if Yosef does it, nobody can relate to it. You know why? If you just did it because you're a smart guy and you're born as a high soul, his job was not for himself. His job was for us, the people on the road, the people that are on the go, the people that are looking to bring themselves to perfection. And bringing ourselves to perfection, that's the job. which means it's the job you have to do day by day, week by week, month by no vacations of that. Why? You try to take a vacation from that? Remember what we said last week? The surrounding light will start pushing in and say, is that all? He will get you those bugs that make you so restless, so uncontent. Why is it that I can't be happy with anything? They just took me for my birthday to this amazing restaurant. I couldn't enjoy it because that was not right. That was not right. People said, what happened to you? What's wrong with you? Surrounding light. So says Rav Ashlag, there are two ways you can move on. You have to move on. But there are two ways. Front wheel engine, which means have a vision, connect every day in the morning to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and start working on your missions of today. Get bigger and bigger and bigger. How? When you study spirituality, when you study Torah, when you study the Zohar, you do all of that for one purpose, which is expanding and expanding the vessel. When you care for others, it's expanding the vessel. Because if you care till that moment to one person, now you care for another person, you're expanding the vessel to two, right? You take about 10 people, you expand your vessel into 11. Amazing, right? You help 100 people, your vessel is right now 100 people full than you've been before. Wow, if only people knew that. And whatever, that's front wheel drive. That expanding the vessel, you get fulfilled and you move on. But if you don't know, and most of us don't know, so the surrounding light is pushing and pushing and pushing, and when you feel the pressure, you start to move. Why? Because that's back wheel drive, which means back engine drive. You're being pushed from the back. What I mean the back? You're being beaten up and you run away from it. So you put your back to your beatings, right? Now, which one of them do you want? Yosef has no idea, although he's such a special guy, although he learned so much with his father, but he doesn't get it. He doesn't connect it to the ground. He doesn't behave that way. So when does he start getting it? When he gets into the pit. He's among scorpions and snakes, but he's being saved. Why he's being saved? Because he's starting to realize all the mistakes he did. He was not stupid. People with a high IQ, that's not enough. You need EQ and SQ. And that means, and this is a very important message for this parasha. Look at Yosef. He has this horrible trauma from the beloved, spoiled child of his father. Not just a father, Yaakov Avinu, Jacob. Can you imagine? And suddenly you realize that your brothers hate you so much they can tear you into little shreds, that saving you, Reuven, your brothers, throws you into the pit with the scorpion snakes, says the Zohar. Reuven said, La'atzilo miyadam, to save him from their hands. If they fell into the hands of the brothers, if we fell in the hands of the brothers, Reuven said, he knew nothing will be left of him. He cannot even bring a corpse to Yaakov. It's better to throw him into the scorpions and the snakes. You know what? Among the scorpions, he has some chances. He didn't have. And we learn from that, says the Zohar, from there we learn that a person should throw himself to scorpions and snakes and not into the hands of his enemies. Humans. Because humans, they have free will. They can decide to be really cruel. Animals, they're just robots of the Creator. They don't do anything they're not supposed to do. And they're not vicious. Now, Yosef again teaches us, you want to connect to that level that is called Yesod, foundation. That pipe opening, the faucet of whatever you want to call it, of Firat Yesod, you need to understand one very important thing. Hakol letova. Everything is for the good. Everything is for the good. Which means, whatever you go through, we have to basically train our mind again and again and again, and therefore also, the more you are surrounded with people in that mindset, the easier it will become to you. Why? Let's say something happens and it's not comfortable. Most people are trained to complain. You know, remember what we said, you get in the morning the mission of the day. Okay? You are the professional of the day. You have to correct one aspect of mankind today. Now you get the problem, and instead of fixing it, you start complaining about it. Can you imagine? You call a plumber. You have a problem in your house. You call a plumber. He sees the problem. He starts to pull his hair and to cry, "What a terrible problem! What a terrible problem!" How do you look at him? Are you out of my mind? I called you to solve the problem, not to mourn. Not to, I don't need to know how tough is the problem. I'll pay you more, but fix the problem. No, I'm crying. It's horrible. You're not a plumber. You're a complainer, right? You're not a professional plumber. A professional, whatever he does, a professional mother, a professional father, is solving problems, is being good at doing things better. We were not sent into this world to complain. Complaining means taking off or away the responsibility. I'm not responsible. That's why I'm complaining. If you understand that it's your job to fix it, you have no time to complain. Says Rav Alag. We learn from this parasha, it's like about the story of Yosef. You want to be the person you're supposed to be, that you have no idea who that person is supposed to be. You can have dreams. Joseph knows he's going to be a king. He has dreams. He has no idea what does it mean. Did he think that he has to go to Egypt and become the king in Egypt? What do you think? He would go with his beautiful coat with the stripes to Pharaoh, says, Pharaoh, I'm supposed to be the king of Egypt. And Pharaoh says, oh, wow, I'm honored. Come, sit next to me, right? No, it doesn't happen this way. Joseph have, like everyone, if he's Joseph or it's one of us, you have to step up for that position. And you have to start from the bottom and you have to really earn it. And Rav Ashok is saying the word avera, transgression, like every word in Hebrew has a shoresh, the three letters shoresh. The shoresh for avera is ayin bet reish, avar. Avar means past. Whoever dwells in the past, says Rav Ashlag, it's a transgression. Why? Either you're mourning about the past, either you are trying to be in the past because you don't like the present and because you're not focusing on building your future, which is basically the only thing you're here for. So complainers, people that are busy with nostalgia, which means, oh, the good old days, it will never come back to that. No, it's not. The good day, you know what's the best day of your life? Today it is. Because yesterday you have nothing to do about it. Tomorrow, it's not here yet, you have no idea what to do. But today is the best day in your life because that's the one you have. And you're supposed to make the best out of it. That's the best day of your life. So you have to be here. To be here, to be in the day, and to understand, oh, what you need is now. And if what happens is like, oh, I wish this day will be over. Mistake. It's a mistake. Use that day, because without those terrible, tough, impossible days, people do not achieve greatness. Joseph being thrown into the pit, sold as a slave, coming to Egypt. Can you imagine a Hebrew boy in Egypt? The Egyptians were racist. Whoever was not an Egyptian was not even a human being. There was not a democracy over there. It was a terrible place. The ideas and the values, they had no way to share it with Yosef. He's alone against a whole empire. And he climbs up to the top, being a slave. Even today, it sounds out of this world. To teach us The ladder is standing in front of us the moment we got out of bed in the morning. Now we have to start climbing on it. When you let go of the past, and when you understand that whatever you're going through in the present, this is your training system. This is the opportunity. This is your challenge. And then you can become the king of the world. That's what Joseph became, the king of the world. And he had to overcome, being miserable. I'm a slave. I was not. Yeah, he was right. If he was a complainer, he wouldn't read what it says that whatever he does, God makes it successful. And his master, Potiphar, can see it with his eyes. What does that mean? That when a person does the job, even people that are so far away from him, you cannot argue with success. And Yosef became the success he was dreaming about. He became because he learned how to operate that button, to operate that programming. And it's all in the Zohar. And it goes through overcoming the evil inclination. Joseph's first evil inclination in Egypt was the ego. From being the best preferred boy of his father to become like the scum of the earth in a culture and a society like Egypt. He was not giving big jobs, but if he was giving big jobs later on, it's only because he excelled in everything he touched, because he did not complain. You cannot be godly and complain at the same time. You cannot blame people and be part of the Creator. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So this is the big message of this parasha. All the tests and the trials, and the wife of his master taking him to her bed and him running away with it. You have the tests in all directions. But he passed the test. He did not complain. He was only looking forwards. He realized that whatever happens to him, you have the best training in the world, the Creator. And the Creator created for you the special program. And you know what? Sometimes in the program you get a special diet program and you get to drink something, it's very bitter. Good for you. All the good medications are bitter. Okay? No, if you know the old stuff. That's what it is. And our work is to work ourselves into really internalize it. That instead of cursing, getting upset, complaining, mourning, sticking to the past, just looking at it and saying, this is my journey. I own it. I deserve it. And I'll use it to the best. And then the surrounding light can come in. And this boy from this family in Canaan becomes, in few years, no time, he becomes the strongest person in the world. And he gets the story of his family to the front of the stage of history till today, because this is the formula. This is what you do when you connect to that Sphira, the chariot that is called Yosef or Sfirat Yesod, success, which is the funnel. So good luck to everyone, and God bless you. Shavua Tov, all the best.